Well, let's head to the US now. And joining me live is former Deputy Assistant to US President Donald Trump and National Security Council Senior Director for Counter-Terrorism, Sebastian Gorka. And Sebastian, before we start talking politics and world affairs, unless you are there, you can't get a true perspective on the Super Bowl, can you? And President Trump was all over it.
Yeah, and shocking news for me, and I think for many Americans, that this is the first time ever a sitting president attended the Super Bowl. So, look, whether it's the March for Life, first ever sitting president to attend that as well, President Trump is here to not only be the commander-in-chief, secure America, make America great again, but also to celebrate great events like the Super Bowl.
All right, breaking news this morning, and obviously a massive change of pace. We saw 3 more Israeli hostages released. It's an uneasy piece, isn't it, the ceasefire at the moment?
Well, it is, especially for us in the National Security Council, because this is one of the top priorities for the president. It's not just to stop the bloodshed wherever it is occurring, including in Ukraine, but in the Middle East. But I have a whiteboard in my SCIF and my secure compartmented information facility in the National Security Council. And on it, I have the priorities for my team and for the president. And right at the top is U.S. hostages and all hostages who are being held by the jihadists responsible for that heinous, absolutely ghastly event that was October the 7th.
What do you think will happen in Ukraine?
Oh, I know what's going to happen. I can tell you. President Trump will bring peace to that benighted part of the world. Look, we just have to put all of this into historic perspective. When we were in the Trump White House the first time, we had 4 years of peace. Jews weren't being slaughtered as they were on October the 7th. We didn't have a catastrophic surrender of Afghanistan with the recrudescence of the Taliban and jihadists in Central Asia as we did under Biden. And we didn't have war on the European continent as we witnessed under the last administration. When was Crimea taken? Under a Democrat president, Biden. When was Russia invaded again? Under a Democrat president, from Obama the first time for Crimea, and then for the second invasion under Joe Biden. So President Trump is the only man who can bring peace. Those negotiations are occurring right now, and the bloodshed will stop.
As great allies, Australia and the US, one of the concerns here, obviously, is around tariffs, and we're right in the middle of the whole steel aluminium drama. How do you perceive that?
Well, look, it's a little bit out of my portfolio. I am the Senior Director for Counterterrorism in the National Security Council, working for Mike Waltz, the new National Security Advisor. However, let me just say this. I'm very excited, as you said, our great partners, Five Eyes members, one of the first groups of individuals I've reached out to who have visited me in the White House just last week were our counterterrorism partners from the Australian government. So from Prime Minister Rudd, who is here as ambassador, great to have you in the building to talk about those sensitive issues. When it comes to trade, I'm just going to say, what the president always says. We are interested in free trade, but it's got to be fair trade. If you want to get into more details, I am happy to connect you with Peter Navarro and the others who are working these issues. But when it comes to national security and counterterrorism, we are joined hip to hip with our Australian brethren. So very excited to be in the White House and welcoming people from the Australian government.
Sebastian, the administration have really hit the ground running. Have you had any sleep?
I used to be asked during the first administration, because I did, a bit of media for the boss back then. Hey, when President Trump's tweeting at 4 a.m., that's you, Seb, isn't it? And I used to say, I need sleep. That's President Trump. It's quite remarkable. 8 years ago, I coined the phrase moving at the speed of Trump. I need to come up with something new. Maybe you can help me, because Trump's speed isn't just covering the truth. It's turbo Trump. It's speed of light Trump. This man is indefatigable, from the Super Bowl to the fixing the border to having his team in Munich. To we have initiated in less than a month more than 400 executive orders and executive actions. And the crazies and the America haters and our enemies just can't keep up with this man who's a quarter of a century older than I am, and I can't keep up with him. Nobody in his cabinet moves quite as fast as he does, but he's a man on a mission to make America great again.
You've got a better lens, obviously, than us, a very accurate and inside lens. What is Donald Trump like when the lights are off, the cameras are off? It doesn't happen often, but what is he like? Can you give us a little insight?
Totally. Yeah, I've done a lot of public speaking in the last 8 years. Wherever I go, whoever the audience is, whatever the topic is, sooner or later, that is the question the crowd asks. What's he really like? And let me tell you now, on Sky News across the world, I'm sorry to disappoint you. If you've been awake for the last 50 years, if you've seen President Trump, in action, that's what he's like, whether he's in front of 60,000 people in a stadium or whether it's just the two of you in the Oval Office. What you see is what you get. That's why 77 million Americans voted for him. I've lived in this stinking city of Washington for 18 years now. Everyone else in the political class, they've got this Janus face, the perfect smile, the perfect teeth in public. Behind closed doors, it's a little bit different. President Trump is exactly the same behind closed doors as he is in public. And that's why people love him. Authenticity, and love of country.
And your corner of the world, just finally, he really genuinely wants a world full of peace.
Yeah, this is what the establishment and the mainstream lying legacy media doesn't understand about President Trump and never will. He is prepared to use force where necessary, and he has done so with regards, if you remember, to the chemical weapons that he obliterated in Syria, or the 300 Wagner Group mercenaries that were running around the Middle East on destabilizing the whole region. But he only uses force in the interests of peace and stability. His number one objective is always to stop the bloodshed, not with intervention, but with the art of the deal. If you want to understand how he's going to bring peace to the Middle East again after the Abraham Accords, how he's going to do it in Europe after the disastrous Biden encouraged invasion of Ukraine, read the art of the deal, understand that this man is about peace, stability, but peace through strength. We don't talk about red lines. We're very serious about making sure the bloodshed ends. And let's just, if I may, the seriousness was demonstrated Saturday before last, which was part of my remit, with what the president authorized to occur in Somalia. When we dropped those bombs on that ISIS cave complex, that's because those people were threatening American citizens and the lives of our allies and friends.
Sebastian, I know you're busy. It'd be great to talk again real soon, though.
Anytime. God bless. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.